And we are live. Hi, this is Sharon Weinstein, and on behalf of Dina Redinger and myself, I am thrilled to welcome you to yet another contributing author interview for those involved in healing healthcare, evidence-based practice to mend our broken system. I'd like to give you a warm welcome today. As you know, nurses remain the backbone of healthcare, and little has been done or even studied to remedy a system that is clearly in crisis. If this is not addressed now, humankind will suffer. Our collaborative book is packed with solutions to the problems that plague our healthcare systems today. These are the problems that lead to troubling sentiments among prospective nurses and that contribute to quiet quitting. Nurse leaders share their experiences, their thoughts, the evidence, and strategies to ensure the health of our healthcare. What you will find within these pages are actionable steps for fixing a system that is currently suffering in silence. We must, with your help, get this book into the hands of those making the decisions. But before we start today, we want to acknowledge you and thank you for joining us. We have viewers from across the globe, so please use chat and let us know where you're calling in from. You can still comment if you see this in the replay, and we will respond. I am so pleased to welcome today's guest. Dr. Brent Dunworth holds a trio of degrees from the University of Pittsburgh, including a BSN, MSN, and DNP. He also holds an MBA from Waynesburg University. Associate Nurse Executive for Advanced Practice Professionals at Vanderbilt University Medical Center and an Assistant Professor at Vanderbilt University, Brent has received several prestigious accolades and serves as a national speaker on a range of subjects related to nurse anesthesia and executive leadership, all the while continuing to engage in anesthesiology clinical practice at Vanderbilt. Welcome, Brent. We are so happy to welcome you today. How are you?
I'm great, Sharon. Thank you so much for having me, and it's great to be here with everyone.
Great, and I'm so glad you're a part of this process. We are thrilled. So tell us then, please, our viewers want to know, why are you involved? Why did you say yes?
Well, this was an easy thing to say yes to, and I think that as is true in the nursing profession, we're very interconnected. And you and I did not know each other out of the gates, but you had talked to someone. We have a mutual friend in common, Dr. Mike Neft, who suggested me as an advanced practice leader who might be someone to contribute to the book. And so that's how we got connected. And I was so excited and really proud to be able to contribute a chapter in this book. I think that we're also passionate about nursing and the care that we give to our patients. And this is just an opportunity to express that. So I appreciate it. And thank you for the opportunity.
It's my pleasure. And now that we've met through the book, we were discovering even today that we have mutual people in common and that we are deeply connected beyond those 10 degrees of separation. So let me ask you a question. Your chapter addresses advanced practice nursing. How do advanced practice nurses bridge the care gap, and how does the profession continue to grow? You might also touch on, how did that happen through COVID? What happened?
Absolutely. So I'm a proud nurse and a proud advanced practice nurse. And when you look into the history of the different disciplines in advanced practice nursing, and among them, nurse anesthetist, nurse practitioner, nurse midwife, you find a theme. And the theme is that the professions were born out of gaps in care and need for access to care. And nurses found the solutions to that. And we're part of the pioneering spirit to close the gap and help to close the gap. So you can look at our country. We have, in terms of maternal care, we've got many deserts in our country where the obstetrical and maternal care is not readily available. Nurse midwives certainly are answering the call in many of those areas. The same is true for nurse practitioners in primary care and now all over the health systems. I mean, nurse practitioners have really been in high demand and are addressing the complexity of care, the continuity of care, and really helping us to shepherd folks through our healthcare system. Nurse anesthetist, which is what I am, also, answered the call, and it's a very storied history in nurse anesthesia. So when anesthesia was really discovered and ether was being utilized, the job was given to anyone who would be willing to do it. And often it was a medical student, and everyone was more interested in watching the surgical procedure. And so the precision that's needed in anesthesia care was missing because the folks were distracted in what they were doing. And so that led to morbidity and mortality. So the nurses came in and were assigned that role. And as you might guess, they did it really, really well and really focused on it. We know that vigilance in anesthesia care is such a hallmark, and that was born through nursing. And it's just amazing to hear the history of advanced practice. And so I think we filled a gap that started early on. And as different gaps sort of get identified in healthcare today, we rapidly step in, and that speaks to who we are as nurses. We are problem solvers. We are people who can find an opportunity to make things better and jump in with both feet to get it done. So it's just such a great and rich history.
That's great. As a nursing student, I remember we also had a school of nursing for men until the two schools merged at Pennsylvania Hospital. And our anesthesia school was run by Dr. Mario Tronsoliti, who was a big name in anesthesia at the time. And he was a strong advocate for nurse anesthetists. When you went into nursing, was your intention to move into anesthesia, or was it something else? Did you think about specialty practice, or did you picture where you might be?
Well, I'm unique in that I did sort of have an idea that that nurse anesthesia is something that I wanted to practice. And to make a long story short, I was in high school exploring career options, knew that I wanted to do something in healthcare, but not necessarily be a physician. This was back before the World Wide Web, and so to get information, you had to send letters and do research.
Oh, I
But
remember that. Okay.
yeah, right, back in the day.
Yeah.
And I was a freshman in high school. My father had a heart attack at age 42, and we went to the emergency room, and that was just when thrombolytics had been introduced. And so he was one of the first patients at this hospital to receive them, but nobody could get an IV in him for this life-saving drug. And so they had to call in the nurse anesthetist who was on call to come and put the IV in. And he did, very skillfully and quickly. And of course, the thrombolytic therapy saved my father's life. And in the midst of that, I thought, well, what is this? This is a very interesting career, and I need to look into it. So that was really my inspiration. But I've enjoyed every moment of nursing. I've done med surg, I've done ICU, and just have enjoyed everything. And I think that we learn and we grow as we work through the chapters in our career. And it helps us to appreciate those that we work with.
Right. And so your bio indicated that you're still involved actively in clinical practice. How many hours a week do you say you give to clinical practice, or is your role mostly administrative or educational?
I do about 20% clinical practice, and then 80% is an administrative role. It's important to me to practice. I really enjoy doing it and really love being out and still caring for patients. I do have a pretty substantial administrative role here at Vanderbilt. And so I'm fortunate to be able to lead all of our advanced practice activities. So nurse anesthetists, nurse practitioners, nurse midwives, and physician assistants. So it's a big job, and we're a growing health system. So there's always, a new challenge to deal with. But having a day per week of clinical practice is something I treasure.
Yeah, I would certainly think so. So let me ask you a question. Why did you think that it was important to include advanced practice nursing in this book? The book is called Healing Healthcare. Why advanced practice nursing?
Well, I think why not would be a better question. And advanced practice nursing has really helped healthcare to grow, has helped nursing to grow, and is really filling care gaps. I know that many of our physician colleagues are so thankful to collaborate with us in advanced practice nursing specialties. And we know that in our country, our patients are living longer and living sicker, and they have more complex disease, and it just takes more work and more folks to be able to carefully provide care to them. And so we have so many different areas where people can specialize in, transplantation, for example, dermatology, you name it. And we have advanced practice nurses in those specialties, really giving fantastic care. But I think it's an important element of nursing. And so making it a part of this book is so important. And part of the chapter really focuses upon, the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic on advanced practice nursing. And that was a real important time in advanced practice. It was also a very difficult time, as it was for everyone. But what we learned across the country at health system after health system is that these providers and clinicians were so versatile and could do so many things and could pivot to where we needed them to be. And so as we set up, tents for screening, we had APPs there doing that role. As we needed to mobilize more intensive care unit beds, we mobilize advanced practice into those roles. And so there's just so many things that can be done, and the versatility was amazing. And the willingness to walk into the fire has always been something that we're proud of as nurses.
Yeah, it's interesting because while all nurses rose to the occasion, there is no question whatsoever. I truly enjoyed, and I know Dina did as well, reading your chapter and how nurses just stepped up and stepped out and met the challenge and went beyond what was required of them to really make things happen. I think that was truly exciting. I never thought about it in those terms. I was very, very familiar with the role of advanced practice nurses from a standpoint of the nurse practitioner and more. But when you look beyond the term advanced practice, it's huge. That is a large umbrella, isn't it?
It
It
really
covers a
is.
plethora of practice.
Yeah, and the workforce it's really one of the fastest growing areas in healthcare careers today. But it was amazing. It was really humbling to see how, we would ask for very difficult things and hands always went up.
Mhm.
And so we were able to really continue caring for patients and not turn patients away when the volume was really off the charts sometimes.
Yeah, I think you're exactly right. And I think it will continue to grow as more people learn about the opportunities. Even yesterday, when I went for an x-ray, I was in a room with an ortho tech, if you will, who was assisting the doctor. And I said, "What is your future? What does it look like for you?" And he said, "Well, I've considered being a PA. I've thought about that. I thought
Sure.
about being an advanced practice nurse." He said, "I think I'm going to end up being a nurse practitioner with a specialty practice in ortho. I love ortho. I understand how important it is. I get it. I'm having good training here, but that's where I want to go."
Yeah,
And
and
it was
it's
fascinating to me that he had already explored, but perhaps unlike us, he had the internet. He didn't have to
yeah,
have a stamp
he
and
could learn a
hope.
lot faster than we
Yeah.
did
Yeah.
back in the
The
day, but
learning curve was enhanced. It wasn't like
it's
waiting for the post office to deliver something.
correct. And it's wonderful to watch people explore careers and see them progress in these careers. And there's just so much that healthcare has to offer. And despite the fact that, of course, our book is helping us to heal healthcare because it is a challenging place to be, there are so many success stories that really bring smiles to our face.
Yeah. So I know you have a single copy of the book because it's coming out in October. Have you had the opportunity to share it with your Vanderbilt folks yet?
As I told you, I was just out of the country when my book got delivered, so it was waiting for me when I got home, and I brought it in today and just shared it with someone who works across the hall. And I said, well, just read the chapter about advanced practice because she's a nurse practitioner, so she's looking at it with much excitement, and I think we'll get it circulated here pretty quickly. We are always celebrating nursing, and the book is just full of so many opportunities for reading and ideas and celebrations. So yes, I think it will catch on fast.
Oh, I think so too. And you share that your colleague is reading your chapter. What do you think, as we go back to your chapter, what is the strongest takeaway from your chapter? One thought that will help to heal or transform healthcare today and in the future?
Yeah, that's a great question, Sharon. I think that the biggest takeaway from my chapter is the theme that nurses are problem solvers. We can identify where there's something that can be done better or isn't being done, and we find ways to get it done. And we don't take no for an answer, because we really are
Isn't that the
promoting
truth?
health.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we're just at our core, we are really promoting the health of the citizens of this country and across the world. And so we see the rising to the occasion. We see professions, advanced practice being born out of need of additional specialty care. And I think that will continue. And I think that one of the things that brings us great satisfaction in the nursing profession is the ability to solve problems and be a part of solving problems, and then see those take root and grow and be successful. And so
Yeah.
that was, to me, what resonated the most in writing the chapter. And I hope others are able to see that as well.
I hope so too, because it's more than just seeing the problem, as being a part of that solution. And
Yes.
that's so critical. You said that nurses don't take no for an answer. Nurses also don't say no. So I think that combination of, even though I say in my books on balance, no is a complete sentence, we don't do that. That's
You're
not in
right.
our vocabulary. We
You're
don't
right.
do that.
It is a double-edged sword that we bear, and you do have to find the right balance and the right time for things. So I think your point is very well taken, and we will just run faster and faster and faster, and sometimes that does burn us out a bit. So we have to be cautious about that.
That we do. Brent, I'm really excited about your chapter. I'm so thrilled that we had the opportunity to work with you and to collaborate on this, and that you've met through the book other colleagues who will continue to be part of your network. I am thrilled that you were on the call today, because I really want to promote you and the chapter.
Well, thank
And
you.
unfortunately, like all good things, it's time for a close.
Well, thank you for having me, Sharon, today, and also inviting me to participate in this great book. I can't wait to hear the feedback that the book gets, and it certainly is coming at a great time
Yeah.
in the history of nursing. So thank you again.
And we'll be scheduling launches in your area specifically. I think it will be really exciting. We'll merge Kentucky and Tennessee, and we'll get something done that will really project this. It will also be in Pittsburgh, so I'm sure your colleagues from that area will enjoy it as well. I
Sure.
invite all of you as our viewers to join us next week. We're back on Thursday again for another interview with another author. And on behalf of Brent and myself and Dina and all of us, if you're celebrating, we wish you a happy Independence Day. Be safe, be a part of the process, be a part of the solution, and let's do this together. Let's heal healthcare. Thank you so much for being with me today.
Goodbye.